Be bold. Be heard. Welcome to Unmute Your Mic with your host, Jessica Belle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unmute Your Mic. My name is Jessica Bell. I am in Kansas City, Missouri, and I am your host for today. First off, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has tuned in the last couple of weeks as I've been airing throwback episodes. I really appreciate all the love that I have been getting, and even though those are episodes that have been seen before, I still was getting a lot of love, shares, and reposts. And so I always want to make sure I take the time out to say thank you because there are a million podcasts and a million different things you could be supporting. And so I'm always super appreciative and very thankful the people and the following that I have for Unmute Your Mic. I also want to let you guys know and to remind you that you can catch Unmute Your Mic on Facebook Live at 8 p.m. on Mondays as well. And that's Central Time, as well as YouTube, also under Unmute Your Mic. We also are on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. So again, I thank you for the love, the shares, the reposts. So part of the reason why I had to air a couple of throwback episodes over the last few weeks is that I had gotten sick. And so I I think it's always so funny when we have our plans of how everything is going to go. So I had my guests, I have interviews planned out and everything. And so it's always interesting because I kind of get excited even though I'm not happy when things happen, but I do kind of get excited when my plans are interrupted because I know that that means God is doing something that's a lot bigger than what I can see. And so today I just wanted to share a little bit about my downtime, some of the things that God kind of spoke to me. And then we'll get back to unmute your mic as usual. But I thank you all for being patient with me. Um, so around the time of my birthday, shortly after my birthday, I actually got COVID. And so I was um, extremely nervous, if I can just be completely transparent, because especially with what you see on TV and in the media and everybody talking about obviously the pandemic and what's going on in the world. And so hearing that you have something like that before you even have a symptom or anything, it's just that fear and that anxiety of, oh my goodness, there's this thing inside of my body that I am not aware of what it is doing, and it's killed all of these people. And so um, I am extremely blessed that I was surrounded by people who were helping me, but also that I didn't get a very, very strong case with a lot of symptoms. Because I personally know people who have experienced COVID, who have been in the hospital, who have really been struggling. And so I never want to downplay or act like because I wasn't hospitalized that it is not serious, because it is. The reason for me sharing this though is because I was actually having a conversation with my dad, and I was trying to decide, like, well, do I really want to share it? I'm okay. I just was kind of on the fence. But he said something that made me think, which was, there are sometimes people are going through the same thing that you went through, and they need you to share that you made it through the other side. Because if I'm completely honest, one of my biggest struggles with COVID was the anxiety about having COVID. I did have symptoms that were not super extreme, but it was more so me having to make sure that my mindset was in the proper place to receive my healing. Um, I never once was afraid or thought I was going to lose my life, but it was more so just not knowing and things being unknown. And I really had to tune out a lot of stuff to be able um, to heal. Obviously, I did, like I told my family, but I didn't publicly make it like this huge thing, because I was like, I need to, make sure I'm good, heal. And I didn't want 1,000 people in my ear asking questions or that kind of thing. And so I kept it to, family and anybody who I had been around that I had to, let know that I had been infected. But outside of that, it really taught me and made me have to sit back and say that, we can preach and talk about all the time how good God is. But when you're facing something and you're scared and it's unknown, like that's when you really get to test and know what your relationship with God looks like. Because I'm not going to lie. When I initially found out, like I said earlier on, I was extremely scared because I have spent the last 7 months trying to quarantine myself, not be around people who have it, wear my mask, sanitize like a crazy person, just, all kinds of things. And so to find out I had it was kind of like, dang, like, what did I do? Or what, I can't believe I've let this happen to myself. And then it was immediately like, oh my goodness, I've been sick before. I've had issues with my lungs, even just previously at the start of this year. And so I had to immediately decide, like, was I going to take captive of my mind? Was I going to, reach out to people who are going to encourage me, to speak life into me, to tell me I'm going to be good? Or was I going to sit and sulk and get in the corner and, tell myself, oh my gosh, this is it, this is over. And I also want to be very open about that as well. It is important that we allow ourselves to feel when things happen. And so instead of, being like, oh, I'm good, I'm fine, no big deal, and push down my feelings and my emotions, I allowed myself to be in the place of like, this sucks, or I don't feel good today. Or, you know, what's happening, what's next, I want to go to work, I don't want to be quarantined in my house, I'm losing my mind. Like, these were all natural feelings that I had, but at the end of the day I had to rest in him. And so that is something that I want to encourage everyone who is listening and watching this today. It may not be COVID that you're experiencing, it may just be something in your life that has interrupted your plans. And I want to remind you that those interruptions don't always have to be bad. Would I have preferred a better interruption? Absolutely. Even though I didn't get extremely sick, I did have a pounding headache and I lost my taste and smell and, pressure. I've experienced like pressure in the chest and that kind of thing. And I'm extremely blessed and I'm thankful that it was not more serious. Um, that was one of the things I was thanking God for every day, but also just reminding myself, like, God's timing is very intentional. For the places I've been and people I've been around in the last 6 to 8 months, I definitely could have contracted COVID anywhere at any time in any place. And so I'm always trying to think about why things happen at a certain time and what it is that God is trying to have happened in the moment. It's also very coincidental that I had started a Bible study group around. I had not started, I was a part of a Bible study group that somebody had invited me to. And part of the group was to unplug for the month of November and to really spend less time on social media and to really plug back in with God. And so I found that uh, very not even funny, but just kind of coincidental that then I find a place where I'm really having to spend some intense time with God because now I'm not working. I'm not being around the people I'm normally around. I'm not going to church. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm now in my room almost 24 hours a day, not eating, not even like being able to turn to food because I'm not super hungry. I can't taste anything. And then, trying to watch movies, but then not really watching movies because I have a headache. And so there was just a lot of time with me and God. And so I'm so thankful that I know God. And I'm so thankful that I was in a position to be able to say, okay, God, what is it that you want to tell me? God, what is it that you want to be birthed through me in these next couple of weeks? Why did you want me to slow down? And so that is something I'm trying to work better on, but also want to encourage you all to really know that, like, if God's trying to get your attention, slow down and take the time to actually listen to what it is that he is trying to say to you, because you don't want it to have to get to the point where you are sick or you are bedridden in order to actually hear what it is that God is trying to say to you. And that was something that I really I had to learn. And so my only reason for ever sharing anything is because, one, I always love when I make it to the other side of something. um I'm not always great on sharing while I'm in it, but as God is doing things and he pulls me through to the other side, I always want to share that, because there are always people who are struggling and they're going through things as well. And so there are now so many people who have gotten COVID. It has some people that has been no symptoms, some people has been uh extremely terrible for them. People have lost their lives, and in that there are a lot of us, like me, people who got COVID, had mild symptoms, quarantined, got their negative tests, and kept being able to go on with their life. And for that, I want to say I'm extremely thankful, and it makes me want to remember to continuously operate in that place of thankfulness, because at any point it could have been me that, you know, it got bad for. It could have been my parents who, were trying to figure out how to get to me or how to see me, but couldn't come to the hospital and that kind of thing. And so, really, trying to walk in thankfulness. So, basically, all I want to say is thank you guys for rocking with me. Thank you for supporting me. And I want to remind you and encourage you to be slow, um, I'm not be slow, I'm sorry, slow down so that you can hear God, and so that you don't have to be slowed down. Don't wait until something forces you to be still in order for you to be still and sit in his presence and say what it is that you want from me, God. Also, you know, COVID is real, and take care of yourself and make sure that you are doing the best that you can do. And if you do um, get COVID, remember that your mindset is a huge part of it. Obviously, it is not the only part. But I know that just like anything that happens in our life, having that positive mindset and being in that place of, okay, I have this now. What is it that I'm going to decide to do from this point is very important. And take time to rest, and get your healing. And that has been my biggest thing. Even recovering from COVID, um, I've had like to be slower. I've had to slow down. I've had to work on my breathing. I've had to use a lung thing to open up my breathing. I can feel the recovery. But what is so good about God is that, for me, in my experience, is that the fact that I can feel the recovery means that God kept me from something that could have been a lot worse. And so, like I said, just operate in that thankfulness, and just reminding myself on a daily basis that everything that I overcome, everything that doesn't take me out, means that I am here for a very specific reason. And if you are watching this, that means that you are here for a very specific reason. God has you here. I mean, it's crazy if you just think about all the ways that someone could get hurt or pass away or anything like that. It is a miracle that we make it from day to day. It is a miracle that we get from point A to point B every single day. It is a miracle when we close our eyes and go to bed and we wake up the next day. That's not even counting being sick or somebody struggling with something on a very long um for a very long period of time. So I know I'm rambling. I thank you guys for listening. I do want to shout out my parents. I love you guys, and I thank you. I really appreciate you checking in on me, calling me 1,000,001 times a day, but to make sure I was good and sending me vitamins and uh, lung things that I can't even pronounce, and just checking in on me, my siblings, everybody, my aunties, just people who really made sure I was good. And so even when I thought I was in a place I was, where I was kind of alone, I still had so many good people, friends and other people who were constantly checking on me and making sure I was okay. And that means a lot, because sometimes when things happen in our life, we don't really know who has our back. And so it is always a blessing to me to be able to know that when I'm struggling and when I'm truly going through something, I have people in my corner who surround me and make sure that I'm good and do stuff that I probably wouldn't even have thought to do myself. So I thank you guys, and I love you guys. And I want to let everyone know who is listening as well, to make sure you have that kind of community. And if you don't have that person who is in your life, who truly has your back, who will surround you and call you and make sure you're good, send me a message. Text me if you have my phone number. Reach out to me on Facebook or social media, because I don't want anybody to feel alone, and I don't want anybody to be fighting something, whatever it is, and feel like that they don't have at least one person they can call that truly has their back. I thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Unmute Your Mic. I'm excited to get back to our interviews next week with some amazing people who are in our community. Don't forget that you can find Unmute Your Mic on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook at 8 p.m. Central Time, streaming live, as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share, please subscribe, please retweet. I love you guys, and I'll see you all soon. You have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Unmute Your Mic. Be sure to tune in next time when Jessica takes her mic off mute as she continues her journey to find stories that inspire and uplift our communities.